What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am in the garage actually because it's very cold outside. It's actually snowing today. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so for today's video I'm going to be working on the cord, and what I'm going to be showing you guys how to do is how to fix any problem that you have with the subwoofer. So a problem that most people have when it comes to a subwoofer is the subwoofer makes noises when you accelerate, and that's actually because when too much power goes, and if you don't ground it properly, the power is going to the subwoofer rather than getting grounded, which makes it turn into noise, and that gets exerted as noise, and while you're driving it makes annoying loud noises that just make constant noises rather than a nice sounding bass. So let's get right into how to fix that problem. Okay, so safety first. So the first thing, I got my black gloves on, my rubber gloves, okay? And the first thing we're going to be doing is removing the negative terminal of the battery. So let me zoom in. Okay, so as you can see, this bolt right here with this wire right here, that is the negative terminal. So first of all, the reason that I'm going to take this off is because when it comes to the subwoofer, you're working with electricity. If you're going to be working with a ground wire, as you can see, the power wire is still connected. So even though the car is turned off, electricity is still running through here. If you touch it, it could be a safety hazard. And you don't want to mess up the fuse box, which in my car is right here. You don't want to do anything to the fuse box, short anything out. So you take off the negative terminal, and that will make sure that no energy is running through. So what I like to do is just get some pliers, because the reason that I don't use a wrench is because instead of looking for the right socket or the right wrench, if you just use pliers, it's pretty easy because it's not that tight. Just going to put that on here. And you don't have to take it off all the way. Just going to loosen it a bit. You gotta get it loose enough until it's like just spinning on its own. So after you get that, you can try wiggling it. So mine's still a bit tight. Just continue to loosen that. Okay, so when it's loose enough to wiggle around, you should be good. So you just take it off and just push it down here where it's not touching anything, where it's not touching the battery or anything. So this is the negative terminal, and nothing is being touched by it. So now we can move to the back of the car where the subwoofer is. Okay, so moving to the back of my car, as you can see here, I have my 10-inch subwoofer, the Scorch brand. And if you guys notice, you see that white wire right here going upwards? That is my ground wire. So I was in a rush that day and I didn't hook it up properly. And a lot of people can have this problem, and not only because they didn't hook it up properly, but because they didn't ground it properly. So in my case, let's move right into the car. Just 1 second, be back. Okay, so moving right into the trunk, you can see here directly that I have my ground wire hooked up right here to the body of the car. And let's get rid of this first. So as you can see, I just have it pushed in there with a whole lot of tape, and it's left like this. So this is the main cause for the problem. So let's get rid of all this stuff. Okay, so as you can see in my ground wire, it's just been left like this with a bunch of strings sticking out. So this is the main problem. When you leave it like this, it's not really getting grounded properly. So that's why I went out and got one of these for extra. Comes with most subwoofers, but I bought another one. So it's basically, it changed it. So it goes from just a bunch of wires that lead into this metal part that turns into a hook like this that you can just bolt onto your body. So how you put this on is you push it through, round it up. Let me take off the rubber so you can see it properly at first. And this has to fully go through. So just making sure the whole wire is touching onto the ground wire, the whole metal part. So after you guys got that, you can put the rubber back on. It's really stretchy, so you can just slide it on from on top. So let me just get this back on. You know what, let's put the rubber back on first. Okay, so let me put the rubber on. Stick it through the rubber. It's pretty complicated, you gotta get the string straight. Tip you could use is just turn it like this. Just keep spinning it. It might hurt a bit, it's pretty pointy, so be careful. You can just push it through here. Make sure it's getting to the metal. You could feel it because it gets pretty tight when it gets to the metal. Right, so you can look from the top, it's gone through all the way. So for safety precautions, you guys gotta do one more thing. That one thing is using electrical tape and sticking it on properly because you don't want it to just roll off from vibrations or when you're using the car. So just grab some electrical tape. Just get a pretty long strip, at least that much should be good. Tear it off. Okay, so what I'm going to do is at the bottom of here, where it could come off of, just going to wrap it around pretty tight. I'm not going to do the top because that's where the electricity goes to, and I don't want to cancel out any of it from the electrical tape because rubber is not a conductor of electricity. So now it's taped on, so it's pretty snug on there. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, the next step after you do that is you're going to want to find a pair of pliers like this. As you can see right here, not part of the pliers itself, there's like a clip. It looks like a tooth, and it can bend stuff in. So what this is used for is wires. So you want to go like this. It's pretty confusing, but just go from side. You know where that metal round part was? You want to find that. You feel it from how hard it is. You want to go over there, push this in all the way, and just press on it. So what this is doing is just that metal that we attach the wire to, it's tightening it. So then that metal is bent, and as you can see inside, the metal is bent, so this thing can't come off that easily. So now this way, the metal clip is fully touching the wires and it's fully snug in there. So let's get on to attaching it and the right way and where to attach it. Okay, the next step is going to be finding a proper place to ground your wire. So if you just look around, so some bodies don't have carpet at the bottom, so you can find it on the side or the bottom, but in my case I have carpet everywhere because it's a newer car. So if you look at the top, you're going to find a lot of metal. But the problem with this metal is it's painted and it's covered with clear coat, so it's not going to ground it properly. It may be still metal, but it's painted. So just look for a proper spot. So I chose this hole right here. So the reason I chose this hole is because you could just bolt it in using a bolt. So this clip part that you bolt on will not fall off. It will just bolt into there. So the first step, grab yourself some sandpaper and clear off the clear coat and the paint. So I'm just going to sand this off and I'll be right back. Okay, so after you guys finish the sanding step, should look a little like this. As you can see, the paint is a bit like white, but I made it look silver, which means that it's been sanded. So now let's move into the next step. Get you guys sitting back here. Okay, the next step is really simple. You're just going to look for any bolt laying around. You could buy this, but I prefer just finding one that's laying around because you just need metal. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Because you're not going to be able to see this. It's going to be at the top of your trunk, so nobody can see it. And a bolt to screw on. So what you're going to have to look for is something that fits through here, which in my case it does, which is perfect. And like I said, you stick it through the hole. There we go, fixed perfectly. And the next step is going to be tightening it on the inside, so let me get that done. Okay, so after a long struggle, let me get my light here. As you guys can see, I bolted it in. Let's bring the camera closer. It's been bolted in. So it's pretty snug in there, and you want to make sure that it's snug because that means that the ground wire is actually touching it. So that's how you guys fix it. So let's get the car started, and since I made a video on how to fix the subwoofer, let's hear the subwoofer. Let me get inside the car. Okay, so since this whole video was on fixing the subwoofer, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a sneak peek of it. So let me show you guys my subwoofer. Let's get in the car. My phone's already connected right here, as you can see. Before you guys do anything to the car, you want to make sure that you connected the negative terminal back to the car as we took it off in the beginning. Once that's done, you can get back in the car and let's hear the subwoofer.
I have a daughter, I'm buying a baby burger. For the goodies that I legs hurt on. By the way, we got no ignorance. Such a nigga from the dirty. How we know that I keep a looking dirty. To kill them folks so we don't gotta worry. Young guns don't wanna touch their head first. From the streets of Bonnie.
See, the subwoofer does work, surprisingly, and well, obviously it worked before, but you guys shouldn't have that sound problem anymore. If it's anything other than this, it might be a problem with your car. You might want to get it checked out with a mechanic. Other than that, that was all for today's video. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned to the next video. Have a good day.